Hi everyone and welcome to another video from DisplayRepair.com. If you've ever wondered, is it bad to drive on an empty gas tank, this video should answer the question. So stay tuned. DisplayRepair.com. Be sure to visit us at our website DisplayRepair.com where you can find more useful car and driving tips. The simple answer is yes. Not that it's bad in a sense that it will damage your car. In most cases, it's just that you may have consequences that are sometimes serious and costly. Here are some of the main reasons you should avoid driving on an empty tank. This is by far the most important reason why you should avoid driving on an empty gas tank. You see, modern fuel injection systems depend on a high and stable fuel pressure. The fuel pump is in charge of providing that. On the majority of cars, the fuel pump is located inside the gas tank, usually near the bottom. This is done so the fuel can be used both as a coolant and a lubricating medium for the pump. So once the gas tank is empty, the fuel pump essentially runs out of coolant and lubricant and suffers damage in form of overheating or a breakdown. Luckily, most of these pumps have a sturdy and resilient build, so they can take a couple of empty gas tanks without damage. But if you make a habit of driving on empty, this problem will happen for sure. The solution is a fuel pump replacement, which is in most cases costly and time consuming, all depending on the location of the fuel pump. In some cases, you may even have to take off the gas tank. Over time, a layer of filth might gather at the bottom of the gas tank. This is especially present if you have an older, high-mileage car which has spent lots of gas tanks of fuel. Also, if the fuel quality in your country is poor, this is almost inevitable. Over time, the debris settles at the bottom of the gas tank and doesn't cause any problems if you drive the majority of time on a full or half-full tank. But when the gas level comes to the bottom, the debris starts mixing with the gas and gets sucked into the fuel system. The debris gets caught inside the fuel filter. If there's some serious debris and filth, the filter may get clogged. Once this happens, the fuel flow will stop and the engine will stutter and cut off due to lack of fuel. Solving the problem isn't that complicated and involves replacing or more rarely cleaning the fuel filter. Changing a fuel filter is not that much of a problem and doesn't cost that much. The main problem may be accessibility. Fuel systems on today's cars, as mentioned, are pressurized. When the gas tank runs empty, instead of fuel, air gets into the system, the fuel filter, fuel lines, and else. This can create a sort of a vacuum that can prevent the car from starting. Even after adding fuel, it will crank but won't start. Diesel cars are especially sensitive to this problem. Besides this, heavy cranking can lead to totally depleting the battery and causing an additional problem. Some cars have systems to prevent this, but at least from my own experience, no car will start immediately after pouring gas like it does when the situation is normal. It takes some serious cranking or even towing in more severe cases in order to start the car. Know that when you're driving on an empty gas tank, you're at risk of the car stopping at any moment. Luckily, car manufacturers have made several precautions to avoid this. First is the fuel gauge, then the low fuel warning light accompanied with a sound signal, and then the possibility to check your leftover range on the board computer. All of this is to prevent the car from running out of gas, mainly during driving. This is immensely important. Just imagine what would happen if the engine shuts down during an overtaking, for instance, or in high-speed driving. In these cases, it's also good to know the fuel consumption on your car so you can better calculate how much driving you have left. We've made a separate video on this specific topic. Click on the link if you want to see it. When talking about is it bad to drive on an empty gas tank, this reason seldom comes to mind but is very important nevertheless. Driving on an empty gas tank may create a sense of anxiety in drivers, especially the more inexperienced ones. When will the car stop? How far can I go? Is there a gas station nearby? Are just some of the questions. This then usually results in loss of concentration and distraction while driving, which is outright dangerous. Hopefully you've concluded that the best thing to do is to avoid driving with an empty or near empty tank. Simply, the trouble caused by this problem far outweighs the simple task of watching the fuel gauge and having some common sense. Getting stranded on the side of the road, sometimes helpless, and begging around for help is a big price to pay for not visiting a gas station on time. As a final recommendation, and if possible, try always having at least half a gas tank full at all times. This will perhaps save you from unnecessary problems, not to mention the fact that the car is always travel-worthy, so to say. You never know what the situation will be, and it's always better to be safe than sorry. That's it for this time. Hope the video helps. Please like and subscribe, it's a huge help for what we're doing. Thanks for watching and thanks for your time.